Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mahesh. This is episode 1 of our brand new series on Python for AI. I'm super excited to have you here. Whether you're a college student, a fresher looking for to expand your skills, or if you're an experienced professional wanting to explore a new language, this series is designed for you. So Python is one of the most popular and versatile programming language in this world. And in this series, we are going to cover it from basics to advanced concepts. So in today's episode, we'll start by understanding what is Python, its history, and explore why it's so popular in the programming world. So let's get started. So let's begin with this. What is Python? So the Python is a high-level general-purpose programming language. So what is this high level as well as general purpose, right? So you'll be having few questions. So let me explain it. So high level is nothing but which is somewhat human readable language, which is easier to read and write. But when it comes to general purpose programming language, right? So I can just tell Python can be used in a wide variety of domains like web development, data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and even automation as well. And there is no limitation for using Python. Python is used even in robotics as well as ethical hacking, right? So it's almost used in almost all the domains, right? So it's widely it's known for its simplicity and clean syntax, which means even if you're new for coding, you can just pick Python as a first programming language, but don't underestimate its simplicity. It's so powerful and it is used in FANG companies like Google, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and it is used to solve like very complex problems. And again, it is used in building very big generative AI applications as well. Fine. So now let's take a quick understanding how Python came into existence or history of Python, right? Fine. So Python was created by Guido van Rossum. So he is the father of Python. So in late 1980s, that is in 1989, it was officially so it was developed. Okay, so it was developed in 1989. Fine, but it was officially released in 1991. So let me just fine. See, this person Guido van Rossum was a research scientist in working in a Netherlands. So there was a company called as CWI. Okay, so CWI is a National Research Institute located in Netherlands. He was a mathematician as well as computer scientist who used to work there. So why did he create Python? So at that time, programming languages like C and C++ were very popular, right? But often it was very complex. I mean, it is required to write long lines of code for even a simple task. So this person wanted to design a language that was very easy to learn and which was required to write few lines of code as well as focus on readability. So that is the reason this person took some time in 1989, that in a Christmas holidays. So at this time, so he took some time and he tried to develop a new programming language. Trust me, guys, he just took 2 weeks to develop Python. So amazing, right? Such a shocking thing, right? So he named the language Python. So not because he liked Python, but he was a fanboy of a British comedy group, and the comedy group name was Monty Python's Flying Circus. Right. So this since this person was a fanboy of this circus company, so he wanted to uh, do some contribution to it. So he wanted to have the same what I can tell fun and engaging just like the show. That is the reason he just took the name Python and kept the same name for his creation. That is how Python came into existence, right? So why Python is so popular? So over the years, Python has become one of the most popular programming languages for several reasons. So allow me to write the features of Python. Fine. So I can't say this as a features, but these are the reasons for why Python is so popular. Fine. So I can just tell it is having high readability. Python's syntax is clean and easy to understand. You can often write Python code the way you just think. What makes it so understandable and more intuitive. And again, versatility. Python can handle tasks in web development, data science, as we discussed, right? And again, it is having huge number of community support. For example, if in case if you're having any issues you face, so there is a high chance that someone has already solved it, and it is shared in the internet. You can just find it out easily. Fine. And there is a huge number of libraries are there, like NumPy, Pandas, TensorFlow, Django. So these libraries save your time and effort and provide to pre-built functions and tools so that you can build a website in 5 minutes. So it is having like huge number of libraries and frameworks are there, and it is cross-platform supported. I mean, you can just have Windows, Macintosh, Linux, or any operating system. The code remains same, right? So now I'm going to write the actual features of Python. So these are the features of Python. So the very first thing is it is easy to learn, right? So the syntax is very straightforward and it's almost reading like English. So it is nothing but we can just tell if any person who knows how to read English, he can easily learn Python, right? So it is very very beginner friendly for people who is learning for the first time. Fine. So I can just tell, let me just take an example of other programming language and Python and compare. So let us just take C programming language as an example. So when it compares to C, right? So you can just see here, we have to just write a lot of code. For example, here I need to initialize the main function. I have to just give some flower braces indentation. I mean, we have to just start the block here. We have to just we have to return a output. So a lot of things has to be done here. But when it comes to Python, right, it is straightforward. So what I need to do, I just need to tell print hello world, so that I'll be getting the output. So it's very very simple as well as reading like English, right? So when it comes to Python, it is a high level programming language. So high level programming language means Python can handle see, there are like, when it comes to programming language, there are like low level programming language as well as high level programming language. So when it comes to low level programming language, let me just write an example here. So the example is assembly language. But when it comes to high level programming language, I can just tell we're having um, C, C++, Python, Java. These are all the high level language. So something which is what I can tell, it handles the low level like memory management, as well as it can handle very complex task, technical task as well. So when it comes to assembly level language, we have to just create a pointers. We have to just include like deleting the data from the memory. A lot of things has to be done. But when it comes to Python, right, everything can be handled by Python compiler. So it's a high level language. And again, it is a hybrid programming language. So what do you mean by hybrid programming language? I can just tell here there are two things are happening, right? First one is compilation, second thing is interpretation. So what do you mean by compilation? Suppose I'm having a source code of Python, right? So the source code is completely converted into bytecode in a single shot. Means this phase is compilation phase. It is done by Python compiler. And again, there is a second phase is nothing but interpretation. So the converted bytecode will be having. So this bytecode is something gibberish language. So this is converted line by line. It is interpreted line by line by the Python interpreter or PVM. So here, since we are having two phases, compilation and interpretation, it is called as hybrid programming language. So when it comes to compiled programming language, I can just tell C is a compiled programming language, whereas Python is a interpreted programming language or hybrid programming language. And again, in Python is also called as procedural oriented programming language, object oriented programming language, as well as functional oriented programming language. So let me explain here. So when it comes to procedural oriented programming language means the steps are executed sequentially. Fine. It's kind of like we'll be having some set of instructions. It is executed one by one by one. So when it comes to object oriented programming language, the code is very organized. We'll be having classes and objects. And when it comes to functions, we'll be going to create a functions for each and every task. It can be reused again and again, right? So this flexibility allow Python to adapt different programming needs. For example, it plays the roles of procedural programming language, functional oriented programming language, as well as very important thing, it is also called as object oriented programming language, right? So again, Python is a dynamically typed programming language. So it is not required for you to explicitly declare a variable data types. So it is determined in runtime. So making the language more flexible, right? For example, so let us take Java. So when you compare this Python and Java, right? So in Java, don't you think that we have to just give a data type? Next, we have to just declare a variable a is equal to 10. But when it comes to Python, right, it is very simple. It is very simple in the sense like I can just, it is not required for me to give any data types. So it is in runtime, it is assigned automatically. So I just need to tell a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20. So it is treated as integer and integer. You can just, so it applies for all the data types as well. Okay. So next, Python is an embedded programming language. So Python can be embedded into other applications to add scripting capabilities. For example, many video games and software tools use Python as a scripting layer to automate the task or extend its functionality, right? And it is highly portable. So Python is a cross-platform, meaning that same code can run in different operating system. So as I told previously, if you're having a source code, you can run the source code in Mac, Windows, as well as Linux, any operating system. For example, if you're having a Airtel SIM, you can just, for example, suppose let's say, let us take an example here. If I'm having a Jio SIM, let us take a number XXXX. If I'm trying to use this Jio SIM previously, for example, this number, so I can make a call, I can do a video call, I can use internet, I can send a message. Similarly, if I try to port this to Airtel, right, same number. So after the porting as well, I can call, I can send a message, I can use internet. Means the platform is different, but the functionalities are same. So it is highly portable, right? And it is having extensive libraries we have discussed a number of times, like NumPy, Pandas, TensorFlow, PyTorch, Flask, and Django, right? So all those things. So these libraries can save a lot of times for us to do the task. So it is not required for us to do or write a program from scratch. Okay, so initially, let me give an example. Initially, when it comes to web development, right? So web development, So we have to write scratch, we have to build up website from scratch. Okay, but after release of Django, so Django web framework, so we can just build a website within 2 minutes. So it's so powerful, right? It's a framework, web framework, right? And it is open source. Python is open source and freely downloadable, so it is not required for you to pay any amount to utilize or to download and install Python. So in this series we'll cover topics step by step. So let me discuss the topics which I'm going to cover, uh, like basic syntax and data types, loops, functions and file handling, and very important topic, object oriented programming and libraries for data analysis, right? So and again we are going to discuss some advanced topics like machine learning and automation, different type of algorithms. Whether you're just started or wanted to deepen your Python knowledge, there is something for everyone in this series. So that's it for today's episode. We have covered what is Python, its history, and its why it is so widely used. In the next episode, we'll dive into setting up the Python on your system, writing your very first Python program. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon so you don't miss the next episode. You'll have any If you have any questions, drop them in the comment below. See you next time, and happy coding.